Hi, Pastor Ralph with you again. It's a blustery day in Ridgecrest. The winds are blowing, the weather has changed, and in other places the weather has brought heavy rains and even mudslides. Here we've simply had the wind. And for some of my friends, the wind means that their bodies are aching. They're well aware when there's a change in weather that they will feel it in their bodies. And so they know that this is the kind of thing that will be passing. And while it's painful, they have an expectation that in the days ahead, things will change. For my wife, who doesn't like to use pain relievers, the change in weather sometimes brings headaches, and she'd prefer not to take medication, so sometimes she'll bear with the pain, even though it's several hours or perhaps a day, preferring not to use a medication. She has an awareness. Others have awareness of the effect of the wind. In some ways, the teaching of the Pharisees in Jesus' day was like a wind that could blow in. And the dangerous thing with the Pharisees' teaching is it might get inside of someone. False teachings that would lead away from God and faithfulness while presenting the teachings as being true teachings of God. One of the things Jesus did regularly was to look at the Pharisees' teachings, comparing them to what God had intended for people. Things like divorce. It's okay to divorce, when really the idea was not to have divorce, but to draw all the more closely to God and to be faithful, to resist temptations to give up in a host of areas, and to put substitutes in the way of faithfully following God and loving other people. Sometimes the Pharisees would make an excuse for not having to do the costly loving thing. Well, we have a susceptibility to a host of teachings as well, different kinds of belief in our culture that may sound like good ones, such as work as hard as you can, earn as much as you can, put it away for the future because you don't know what's going to come. But sometimes we're called to care for other people in the here and now with what we have. And if we put aside for the future, we may well never need that future savings or money that we put away, except that we need it now because someone else needs it, because a neighbor right next to us has a need for food or shelter or clothing or something that we can help provide. It's amazing how a variety of teachings or winds that blow through us in our culture can threaten our very faith and faithfulness. We are the kind of people who are dependent on the Spirit of God to lead us and guide us, to carry us faithfully through the challenges, to know what to do today when winds blow into our lives, when circumstances are difficult. In Jesus' day, as in ours, there are times when standing true to our faith requires a genuine attentiveness to what is being said, what is being taught. How do we find our way through faithfully? For the first disciples, it meant depending on the Spirit to speak the word of God during the midst of significant trials when there was a threat of beatings or even of imprisonment and death. We too have a host of teachings and beliefs that are brought before us as being either true or you can believe it or not believe it, but it's not of great consequence. And yet there's much that is of consequence. Knowing the day, knowing the time, knowing how the winds are blowing make a difference in how we live. Just as my friends and wife can live better and more faithfully if they're aware of the circumstances of the wind today, so we who follow Christ, when we're aware of the blowing of the Spirit, the way the Spirit is working in us and moving us to hold true to the gospel, we can stand firm with God amidst the powers of the teachings and winds of our day. I pray that you and I may be faithful in the midst of the times, aware of the teachings, that we remain faithful to the Word of God. Lots to ponder and lots of challenges. I look forward to seeing you again soon. God bless you.